sound scary, but they're literally just this. What number a function is trying to be. So here's the core idea. A limit is what happens as x gets really close to a number. Not equal, just close. So here we have a graph with the hole right here. Now, at this hole, obviously, the function is undefined. So let's say this hole is at 1 and this is 1. Okay? So the limit as x approaches 1. So as x approaches 1, as the x values go closer and closer to 1 from the left side and the right side, we can see that it's approaching 1. So even though at x equals 1, this function is undefined, there's literally a hole, the limit at x equals 1 is equal to 1. So even if the function isn't defined there, the limit can still exist, okay? Because a limit is what happens as x gets really close to a number. Not equal, just close. So let's look at this example. The limit of x squared as x approaches 2. Well, let's draw this out. As x approaches 2, so as x approaches 2 from this side, and as x approaches 2 from this side, we can see obviously that the limit is going to be 4. X is approaching 4. And in this case, yes, the function does exist at x equals 2, and at x equals 2, the function is equal to 4, but this is not necessarily always the case. Okay, now, last kind of scenario, what happens if a limit doesn't even exist? Well, remember what I said, a limit exists if from both sides of that specific number, both are approaching one number. Let's look at this. Let's say this is at 1, okay? Make it easy. So let's say the question asks you, what is the limit of this function, whatever this is, as x approaches 1, whatever this function is. Okay, well, let's go. As x approaches 1 from this left side, it's whatever this value is, and as x approaches 1 from this side, it's whatever this value is. Do you see? There's a discrepancy. On one side, it's this number, and on the other side, it's this number. These are obviously two different numbers. So, this limit, DNE, or does not exist. So, this is usually the first thing you learn in calc, AB at least. So, it's really important that you understand the basics of what limit is. Obviously, it gets a lot tougher, but we'll go over that in the next videos. But this is just kind of understanding what even is a limit. So, here's what you guys need to take away from this video. Limit is what the function approaches, not necessarily what it equals. It could be, right, like we saw in this example, right? It approaches 4 and it's equal to 4, but in this example, it approaches 1, but there's a hole at 1, so the function cannot equal 1 at 1. It's undefined at 1. So, it's what the function approaches. It's what the function is trying to be. It's the number the function is trying to be. So, I hope that made sense. I know calculus can seem a little bit daunting at first, especially this. You've never seen this language, lim x goes to 1, right? But I promise it's not as bad as it seems. Once you get used to it, calculus becomes really easy. All it takes is practice. We'll go over more harder kind of topics in terms of limits, such as the epsilon definition and so on, and the derivatives, the limit derivative. Oh, I can't talk. The limit definitions of the derivatives. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned. If you did, subscribe, leave a like, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.